Hey, y'all. Sorry I'm late. Can you hear me? Let me know who's on. Let me know who's on. Okay, so we're a little late today, a little behind. I'm running a little behind. I had a therapy session um, with a client, so I apologize for my tardiness. And I hope you guys can forgive me. I forgot to update the title of this live. It is not I was sort of his girlfriend. The title of this live is, let's see, let me think about the title. He wasn't ready. That's the title of this live. He wasn't ready. So yesterday we left off with what did I leave off with? The guy who I was sort of his girlfriend, who kept kind of, doing his own thing while we were supposed to be dating and getting things together, sort of say. And some things happened, and I had took me a while, but I had to get myself together and realize what I was doing, and in that I uh I don't know, that I had to get better for myself and get it together for me. So that's what was going on yesterday. Today I'm telling you about he wasn't ready. So this was the next person that I dated after that individual. That took me a little bit of time. It wasn't anything quick, I guess. It took me some time. It actually took him a long time to even get me to say that I would go out with him, because I was so not checking for him. This is when I was working at the airport in Philadelphia, and he came on after I started working there. And he was after me for a long time. I can't even tell you how long it was and how much I was not paying him any attention at all. So he was after me for quite some time, and I kind of, you know, didn't want to hear it. I wasn't with it. I didn't care nothing about, what he had to say. He was always, saying different things, complimenting me, and he was always just trying to put himself out there to see what would happen. That's basically what he was doing. And finally, he wore me down months later. And once he wore me down, I started to realize, okay, he's a nice person. He's somebody that I can enjoy and get to know. All right, cool. I'll run with this one. Yeah. Well, we dated, I would say, a few months. And when I tell you that he wasn't ready for me, that is exactly what I mean, because when we started dating, it was after something tragic happened to him. And he never took time to heal from that. So even though I was not a rebound girlfriend for him, I was a rebound to help him um, feel better. Hey, Auntie. happy birthday. So I was a rebound to help him feel better. And it was, that was, I was there helping him unknowingly because that was not the plan. Like, I didn't know that I would have to help somebody in their time of grief, in their time of need. But that's where I was. Okay. So things, started happening. We had a good time. We knew how to laugh and have fun with one another. He was teaching me how to play pool. A lot of different things was happening. Good things that I didn't want to let go of because it was kind of what I wanted at the time. And I met his family. He wasn't. That was the other thing that was major for me because I didn't have to be hidden for no traditional, because like I told y'all yesterday, the guy I was with last time, the before him, was keeping me from his family because he had to bring home the woman that he was going to marry. So yeah. um so I wasn't hidden. They, I I had a decent relationship with his family. It wasn't nothing like, we never really took the time to really get to know one another. I talked to his mom a few times. Things were cool. He lived at home. So I was okay with that because I lived at home. And um, when I was embarrassed to ask him for help, he still helped me. And he also told me, that I never had to pay him back. But when things went south, I made sure that I did not owe him a thing. Okay. So, I'm trying to think of how long we dated. I would say it was probably midsummer to like November, around this time, I think, December, something like that. So we dated for a few months, and you know, it turned into a cat and mouse game eventually. Eventually, it turned into a cat and mouse game. It turned into me having to, which I'm not proud of, but me having to chase him, because he started to distance himself from me. And that was without explanation. So, because he was distancing himself from me, I felt like, okay, it's something that I'm doing wrong. Let me try to fix it. That's where my mind was. Let me try to fix it because this should not be happening. We have a good time with one another. This shouldn't be happening. So, all right, let me ask y'all this. Let me pause for a second. How many of you guys felt like this before? You were being um denied, starting to be denied from a man, by a man, and you wanted to try to fix the situation because you felt like it was you. I can say I've done that, not just this time, okay, that I'm talking about. So anyway, um he, he we used to go get something to eat after work. We would hang out wherever after work, and it was cool. And then all of a sudden, I would say, "Hey, so what? Will you come in? Want me to take you home?" And it would be like he would say, "No, I'm good. I'm gonna go with so and so." Okay, and he didn't have a car, so it was either me or public transportation. So I'm like, all right, he'd rather be on the bus or be on the train than come home than me drive him home. All right, something is up. So I would try to reach out to him, and sometimes sometimes he would answer and sometimes he wouldn't. And it was okay, like, whatever. Not, I won't say it was okay. It was not okay because by this point, when this started to happen, I developed really strong feelings for this young man. Well, he was older than me, but I developed really strong feelings for him. And I even told him that I loved him at one time. And you know, the feeling I thought was mutual, but it wasn't. So I think the anniversary of his brother's death came around, or it was just the fact that he never got over his brother's death. And that's when he really, really started to act funny towards me. And, he had problems with his son's mom, and just different things that was happening, and I had no control over it because what can I do? Like, I can't stop, I can't fix it. He had to fix it for himself, but I still tried to fix it. And so I still calling myself the good girlfriend. I'ma still be here for you. Um, whenever he decided that he had time to deal with me, I was right there like a little puppy that's missed her master for the whole day. I was right there on his lap, waiting at his feet for us to go have fun together. And then that started to become um what can I say? That started to become a problem because that is not how I should have dealt with this relationship. That is not how I should have allowed myself to be treated. But I didn't know any better because I was still in my early 20s. I don't even think I was in my mid 20s yet. I was still in my early 20s. So I was learning as I went along. Okay. So, you know, um, one day after a really big argument he and I had, I went to his house to give him back the money. He told me that I didn't have to pay him back, but give him back the money that um he lent me. So I went to the house, didn't tell him I was going there. His mom was home. So I talked to her for a second and she told me, Ashley, does he know that you're bringing this money? I said, I told him I was giving him his money back when he gave it to me, and this is what I'm doing. And do I mind explaining acting funny? Okay, so acting funny, the way he was acting was um, dodging my calls. He was, didn't want basically didn't want to be bothered with me at particular times. That's what I mean by acting funny. I was not important anymore. I was, I don't even know, just I don't even want to say a friend because he treated me less than a friend. So I was just something. I don't know. There's no definition for it. I was just something, I guess. um, and also, let me mind you, we talked about, buying a house. He was in the military, so he was like, he just found out that he could get benefits, a VA loan, and so we talked about buying a house together. We discussed that type of stuff. So, but it was misleading. And that's the problem that I had. And because it was misleading, it it made me very, very angry. And when I say angry, I was it's only been a few times in my life that I have been this angry, and they all revolved around men, but they were different men. One of them was my mom's husband. Another one was well, the rest of them was guys that I dated, but it was a few times in my life that I felt angry to the point that I wanted to cause bodily harm to someone. And it just happened to be him. I wanted to cause bodily harm to him because he was rejecting me without explanation, and it really hurt me. That's why I was angry, because I was really, really hurt. And without saying anything that could possibly get me arrested, there was one day that I blacked out, and I, decided, hey, I'm going to step on the gas while he's walking across the street. So, yeah. That's how angry I got with him, because he toyed with my emotions. That's how I felt at the time. He toyed with my emotions. He didn't respect me, or what I thought we were trying to build. And he, you know, I don't know how else to say it. He it was a big game to him. That's why I named this live He Wasn't Ready. Because he had no business really trying to be in a relationship with anyone at that time. He needed to get himself together, and he eventually, even though, like I said, he was older than me, he eventually grew up and agreed that yes, he needed to get himself together. and told me that. And I was glad when he finally admitted it, but by that time it was too late, in my opinion. So let's see, we still work together. We were around each other all the time. So after that breakup, I still had to see his face. And because I was so hurt, I wasn't trying to talk to him, but he still wanted to try to talk to me and have conversations with me. I would walk away, roll my eyes, or probably cussed at him a few times. That it was just that's how it was. Like I was very hostile towards him because I felt very used by him, and my emotions were spent by this point. And I know what I was going to say. I got off track. His mother said to me, when I went to the house, his mother said to me that sometimes she loves him, but sometimes she doesn't like him. And I was like, that was kind of crazy to me to hear that from somebody's mother, that their own mother didn't like him. But that's just the size of it. That was how she felt. And she told me, I'll give him this money. But you if you're done with him, she was like, I would suggest you leave him alone. And that's what I did. I left him alone. And only time I saw him, only time if I decided to talk to him, if it was not job related, only time I would talk to him was at work. It was no less can I get a ride with you or anything like that. It was none of that. I was done with him. But like I said, as an adult, you know, I just did things to prove that I was I was I guess for him, or I was down for him, that I shouldn't have done. Like I did things like sleeping on the couch with him at his mom's house. And I did things that I never did before. Like he would go hang out with his friends. One night we hung out with his friends and they wanted to stand on the corner and drink and talk and stuff like that. And one of his friends came to me and was like, "You look so out of place with us. You don't need to be with us. You don't need to be with him. You need to be with somebody else that's more fitting of you." And I was like, dang, that's messed up to say about your friend. He was like, no, but you look out of place. Like you don't belong here. And it really made me start thinking, like, well, what am I doing here? Well, I'm trying to be, you know, a girlfriend, a down girlfriend, down with him girlfriend. But it wasn't working. Also another time when we first started dating, it was before he told me that he lived with his mother and his sisters. Um, we went to a party, and then we went to a house, an apartment after the party. He had a key, so I assumed it was his. And the next morning, um, we were awakened by someone trying to get in the door. And that I should have been done then, but I wasn't. That was the beginning. And it was embarrassing. And it was his friend's apartment. And his friend was like, "Man, what are you doing in my apartment? Like, why? Why would you bring her here?" Yeah, it was embarrassing. So these are things that, I probably should have never subjected myself to doing. But that's what I was doing because, this person that I wasn't feeling and thinking about in the very beginning that was chasing after me, now I'm trying to give him some time and I'm belittling myself by doing it. I was losing my self-respect by doing this. So if I was me, if I had me back then, I would tell me to get a grip and, you need to follow your gut because your first reaction to him should have been the only reaction to him. It should have been the only thing that I did, with him, I guess, if I'm saying it right. That should have been the only thing that happened with him. Like once I saw who he was in the beginning, because I'm a pretty good judge of character, but sometimes I downplay it because I want to give people a chance. And I shouldn't have gave him a chance. I should have just stuck with my gut feeling about him. He was a nice guy. He was a cool dude. He could be a bit aggressive at times. Like one time I was going home and he was like, "Well, I'm coming with you." No, you're not. So, just different things that made me realize, okay, I made myself a little weak for this person and I shouldn't have. That those are lessons that I learned. And as I told you yesterday, those are things that started to contribute to the iciness of my heart towards guys. And you know, you, you have to take these experiences and learn from them. That's why I'm able to come and sit here and talk to y'all about different relationship situations, because these are all things that I learned from. I learned from my mistakes, things that I've done that I shouldn't have done, the ways that I've less made myself lesser than because I just wanted to have a boyfriend. I just wanted somebody that I was able to call and, you know, be able to hear them say goodnight to me on the phone or whatever the case may have been. That desire of wanting to be wanted took over. And in this situation and in um my journey of wanting to be wanted by someone, in that journey I lost myself and stopped wanting myself, if that makes sense to y'all. I stopped wanting me because I was changing who I was to be what I thought would be a fit for somebody else. Does that make sense to you guys? So, you know, I would if I was me, if I had me back then, I would say to me, look, you have so much more to offer to somebody than this. You deserve to be with someone who has themselves together, who wasn't, I forget how much older he was than me, but who wasn't however much older than me, and who wasn't, trying to figure themselves out still. Still he was still kind of like stuck in his, I guess his, I would say his teens almost. He was stuck there. Something happened and he just was stuck there. So, you can't change anybody, and you can't force anybody to change. They have to do it when they're ready. And apparently, he was ready after he and I broke up because he found some other woman, and he did all the things that he with her that he did not do with me. So, yeah, that was a hard pill for me to swallow back then, because I'm like, well, what the heck was wrong with me that you couldn't do this stuff with me? But he wasn't supposed to do it with me. He was supposed to do it with somebody else. I wasn't supposed to give him that time of day. But you know, you can. It happens. Let me see what I have a comment here. He was a street person and I was the wait for him at home chick. Our lifestyles were totally different, but I still fell in love with him. And yes, I too learned in a hurtful and heart crushing way. And I too just wanted to be loved by a man. Everything you're saying makes sense. Thank you. But sometimes I feel like as women, because we give so much of ourselves to people, not just men. We give so much of ourselves to people. We give so much of ourselves to females that we're trying to be friends with, or guys that we're trying to be friends with. And then we give even more to someone that we want to date. And we lose ourselves when we do that. We lose what's important when we do that. And, you know, it's not something that we should take lightly. We have to hold ourselves up to a standard where we do not forget about us. We can't forget about what we like and who we are, and be proud to walk in that. And if you don't we have to be okay with the seasons where we didn't have a man. We have to learn how to be okay in those seasons, because those periods are when we learn the bigger lessons. Those are the times when we are able to really discover us during those periods and fall in love with who you are during those periods of being alone. And being alone is not a curse. It's okay to be alone sometimes. But we don't see it that way, because we always have it in our head that we have to have a man. We have to, we want that love, and that's human nature. As humans, we want connection, we want relationship with people. But it becomes a problem when we become obsessed with it and lose who we are. So that is my third story of the week. And like I said, if I was me, I would if I had me back then, I would say that I was worth much more than being snuck in somebody else's apartment and sleeping on the couch with them. I'm worth much more than that. And I would empower me to discover who I was first before trying to be with somebody else. That is my story. And remember that I have been coming to you guys since Monday, telling you all of these juicy stories because the start of my talk show is on June 7th, a week from tomorrow. So I'm gearing you guys up for the show, and I'm gearing you up so that you know how the show is going to go, because there will be lessons learned. I will do some relationship coaching with people, and I will also, what else am I going to do? I am going to allow others to come onto the show and talk about their love experiences. Now, my love experiences that I've been telling you, this is the reason why I've been telling you these experiences is because I want you to know that I don't want just the happily ever after stories. I want to hear about those stories that you have learned from. And I want to hear about those stories where your heart was broken. I want to hear all of those stories because people need to hear that. People need to hear about these relationships that don't exist in real life because they are paying attention to relationships on TV. They need to hear about these real relationships and things that happen for real in life. And if they are someone who is experiencing something similar to what you have experienced, you can help them. We can help them together with figuring things out for themselves and helping them get across those those barriers. Okay. So this is why I am coming to you every day this week to tell you about my stories and share my love experiences with you. All of these stories are just stories that I'm telling you guys about people people who I have felt love for, people who I thought I was in love with. These are those stories. These aren't just the stories about me with random guys, because I got a lot of those too. But these are the people that I thought that I was in love with, that I'm telling. These are the stories that I'm sharing with you. Okay. I would need to write a book. It's okay to write a book about it. I think it's all right, but I want to help and reach as many people as possible. That's my goal. Anybody have any questions for me? Anything that you would like me to clarify or anything that you want to say? I am here and I am available to you for right now. So if you have any questions, go ahead and hit me up with your questions, please, because I'm ready. I thank you guys for coming on and watching and listening. And if you have been tuning in all week so far, I know it's only Wednesday, but if you've been tuning in since Monday, I appreciate you even more. I thank you for being here with me and hearing what I have to say. Thank you, Auntie. Thank you for telling me I'm awesome. All right, guys. If nobody else has anything, I appreciate you. And I will see you guys tomorrow at um 4 o'clock. All right. I gotta figure out how to get out of here. Okay. Mm-mm. Here we go. She